Good morning, everyone. My name is Tim Dowling. I'm the coordinator for the Rotary District 5930 District 4-Way Test Competition. And I would like to welcome you to the 2020 version of our competition. We have 11 students competing today. The top 3 students will win $1,500, $1,000, and $750, and all the other students will each take home $250 as an area winner. Each student will also get a plaque recognizing him or her for being the area winner. And the top 3 students today will get a trophy recognizing their achievement. Before we hear from our outstanding student speakers today, let me briefly tell you about the 4-Way test. The 4-Way test has a rich history, beginning in the middle of the Great Depression. With companies failing and much of the country living in very harsh conditions, everyone was trying to figure out just how to survive. One man, Rotarian Herb Taylor, with his company on the edge of bankruptcy, came up with what he thought was the only way out: a simple ethical standard for his company. Because of this standard, the company changed its marketing strategies, customer service, and the relationships with its competitors. In fact, Mr. Taylor's company even turned down a major sale after it discovered that the buyer was planning to be unethical in the distribution of the company's products. Remarkably, in the midst of unprecedented economic distress, Mr. Taylor's plan worked. In just a few years, the company was out of debt and soaring to the top of its industry. In 1955, Mr. Taylor gifted the copyright of the 4-Way test to Rotary International. Since then, it has been the ethical standard that Rotarians use personally and professionally. It is recited at every meeting of over 34,000 clubs worldwide. It is simply the 4-Way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Those listening today to these students, please note that it is very critical that they actually address the 4-Way test specifically. If a student gives an otherwise great speech that does not clearly focus on the 4-Way test, the student will not score well today. Since we are competing by Zoom, each speaker will be allotted approximately a 12-minute period of time. The students have between 5 and 7 minutes to give their speech. That will give us enough time to be sure we can see and hear the student. The student can give his or her speech, and the judges can give their scores while the speech is still fresh in their minds before we hear the next speaker. Andy Zamaripa, an outstanding Rotarian who's our Zoom expert today, where I will announce only the speaker's name and first number, speaker's number and first name before each student speaks. So for example, our first student will be speaker 1, Logan, and he will not see the student's last name or know where they're from. So as not to distract, I'm telling this for the other people on the Zoom call, please mute yourself and turn off your video. Judges, please do that. We'll have a 12-minute break after speaker number 5 of our 11 speakers. That break will occur roughly at 10 o'clock. We'll take a 12-minute break, keeping with our 12-minute increments. We expect the last student will be done around 11:15 or so. After speaker number 11 is finished, our last speaker, all the students will introduce themselves to you with their full names, what school they attend, etc. While they're doing that, the judges will finish their scoring. I estimate that will take about 20 to 30 minutes. Right after that, I will tell you who our top 3 students are, and we will begin shortly. We're ready for student number 1. Andy? Eddie, cover up your camera.
Logan, welcome. When we're ready when you are. Once you start, we'll start the timer.
Okay. Whenever we are talking about the Second World War, something you might hear a lot about is the war was won with Russian blood, American iron, and British intelligence. American iron is referring to manufacturing. The United States contributed greatly by contributing through manufacturing, not only for the American military, but all of the allies. And this is something that we can apply to a situation like world hunger. World hunger is something that has been plaguing humanity since the first day of the first human. And this is a problem that it seems like in the past few decades has stalled when trying to fix. So I have come forward with a solution: rabbit farming to save humanity from hunger. Now, I know this sounds like a crazy idea, so I should probably explain what that means. Whenever I was coming up with this idea, it was a joke at first. I didn't actually think there would be any way to make a speech out of rabbit farming saving humanity from hunger. But it actually has basis to it the more I thought about it. And went from being just a joke has turned into an actual idea that can be applied on every continent, except maybe Antarctica, but it doesn't really matter because there's no people there. Now, is this the truth? Yes. Rabbits are an extremely versatile and adaptable creature that can live in almost any climate. From the deserts of Australia to the frozen tundra of Siberia to the vast woodlands of the United States, they live everywhere. And so they can be applied on a large scale in every country on the planet. And the thing that really makes them good for livestock is they don't take up as much space as something like cattle does, which is something here in Texas we see all the time. It takes up a lot of space. And cows also don't reproduce as quickly as rabbits do. In 1895, a Englishman moved to Australia where there were no rabbits, and he introduced 24 rabbits, only 24. By the time 1920 came around, there were as many as 10 billion rabbits on the continent of Australia. That is a ridiculous growth rate in such a short amount of time. So, what we have to see there is that you can grow these things at an enormous rate and you can get a lot of food from this, which is something Australia already does. So, as far as this being true, it's about as true as the truth gets in a situation like this. Is it fair to all concerned? The fairness of the situation is really what makes it important. We have put a man on the moon. We have built things like the Empire State Building. We are planning trips to Mars right now. Just a little while ago, this week, a first helicopter was powered on Mars. And yet there's still millions, hundreds of millions of people every year that are starving all over the world. How can we say we live in a fair society when we are focused on going to another planet where there potentially are no resources we can use that we know of, while there's people starving on our own planet? This is going to be fair because it is going to fix that. Since the early 1950s, the Green Revolution in India and Pakistan with rice farming, there hasn't been any major changes to food production for humanity at all. And that is something that is very unfair and is something that needs to be addressed. Now, as far as building goodwill and better friendships, if you go into a room with a bunch of rabbits, that is going to be immediately become a happier room. And you can go to almost anywhere where you find pets and find rabbits because people love rabbits. So not only are they going to be helping people with food, but they are also just nice animals in general. And how can you not build goodwill and better friendships across the planet if you are providing food to people who otherwise could possibly die without it? This is a very important situation that needs to be addressed. And you build goodwill by doing good things for the will of others. And so this is how the goodwill aspect comes into this. We're saving lives. We are improving lives. Now, will this be beneficial? It's hard to say it's not. This is a situation that has been plaguing humanity, like I said, from the first day of the first human. So we need to know that humanity is going to be safe. And if humanity is not safe, you can't really say that anything beneficial is happening. We are ensuring the survival of other people. That is as beneficial as it gets. The number one thing you can do to help another human being is improve their quality of life and save their life. So, of course, this is going to be beneficial. The only way it could not be beneficial is possibly other agricultural sectors being harmed because economics and all that. But overall, that is not important at all when we are talking about hundreds of billions hundreds of millions, not billions, of people who are starving every year. And a lot of people die from this. So overall, the truth of it is rabbits can prevent on a wide scale hunger in the world. This is going to be fair because it is going to take technological innovations and apply it in a way that is going to actually help people. It's going to build goodwill and better friendships by putting goodwill into the world. And that is a good way to build friendships at all. And it's beneficial because it is saving lives and improving lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Logan. You're going to be moved over to the other room now.
Bear with me. Let me see. Logan? Logan? Okay, Logan is gone.
Okay, while we have this dead time here, I will give some facts and figures about Rotary for the benefit of those in the audience. But we'll start off this morning. My name is Eddie Bartneski. I serve as a district governor for District 5930, and it is a pleasure to be here this morning with everybody. And first of all, I want to kind of give everybody an idea of what is Rotary and who are we as Rotarians. And so Rotary International is it's a service organization. Hold on just one second here. There we go. Okay, it's a service organization whose stated purpose is to bring together businesses and professional leaders in the world in order to provide humanitarian service and to advance the goodwill and peace around the world. It is a non-political and a non-religious organization that's open to everybody. And we have over 35,000 member clubs around the world that comprise up to 1.2 million individuals that are known as Rotary. But Rotary is more than just a service organization that's making a difference in your communities. We are an international membership organization made up of people who share a passion for and a commitment to enhancing the communities and improving lives around the world. The difference we make starts with our members. As I said, there are about 1.2 million 1.2 million members in the clubs around the world, in just about every country in the world. And we are improving communities around the globe. And as a member of Rotary, we'll have opportunities to change lives locally and to connect with other clubs to work on international projects that address today's most pressing humanitarian challenges, including fighting disease, providing clean water, supporting education, and promoting peace. So that is kind of a nutshell of who we are as Rotarians and what we do.
Thank you very much, Eddie.
Okay, Tim, are we ready for speaker number 2?
Eddie, be sure to turn off your video.
Yes, sir.
One moment. I'm having speaker number 2 move themselves because it's not giving me the option.
Okay.
Let me go into their room. I'll be right back.
Andy, are you there?
He said he went to the other room, that he'd be right back.
Okay, I didn't hear that. I heard
Yeah.
him say something. I couldn't hear what he said.
Yeah.
Welcome, speaker number 2. And whenever you're ready, the timer will start.
It does not matter where you start. It matters how much you are willing to work to achieve your goals and become who you strive to be. A quote from the wisest man in my life, my father. I have leaned on the timeless words of my father through all of life's hardships. And I have understood and known and learned the value of this quote. I have applied it in so many parts of my life. So in struggling to decide what to talk about today, I realized that the answer was right in front of me. It was not a worldwide event or crisis, but it was a very quote that molded me to the person that I am standing here today. This quote has the potential to influence what I say, think, and do. So, what better way to test its validity and its significance than through the rotary 4-way test? First of all, is it the truth? Is what this quote says the truth? Without an ounce of hesitation, I can say that this is the truth. It is true that my starting point has no power to dictate and hold me back from my dreams and my goals. It does not matter what society says about my age, my culture, or my ethnicity, because what society sees as my starting point is not my truth. What is true is the hardworking, diligent personality that I possess, and the determination and passion I have to reach my goals. That is the truth. And my very family is a testament to the truth of this quote. My 2 sisters have gotten steps closer to reaching their goals through hard work. My eldest sister is currently in her 2nd year of Baylor Law School at 21 years old. And my 2nd eldest sister will begin podiatric medical school in the fall at 19 years old. Through hard work and sacrifice, they have gotten to this point in their life, and they have defied all odds against young Hispanic American women in education. And I'm confident that through hard work, I will be the next to do so. Is it fair to all concerned? Is what this quote says fair? In my junior year of high school, I sacrificed my traditional high school pathway to begin and enter a high school where I began a rigorous curriculum of full-time college courses. I am now a senior in high school, taking both junior and senior level college courses. Have I studied more than I ever have before? Yes. And do I have much more responsibility? Also, yes. So many times it doesn't feel fair. But my father always reminds me that the hard work I commit to my studies will get me to where I want to be and who I want to become. So when I step back and I look at it from a bigger perspective, I realize that the hard work is fair because I know that I will reap the rewards that I am sowing. Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will this hard work build goodwill and better friendship? I have lived by this quote and I have applied it in my life. But more importantly, I have learned from the way that my parents applied in their life. My parents, I owe so much of my personal achievements to my parents. They are my rocks, my inspirations, and my biggest cheerleaders. They constantly push and challenge me to be the best version of myself possible. But the biggest most significant thing I have learned from them is the values that they have taught me, the values that correlate directly to this quote. They have taught me that hard work requires humility. It requires knowing that you will not always be the best or the smartest at everything. But in those moments, you must be welcoming and accepting of people in your life who can challenge and teach you and can fill those gaps that you cannot. It requires communication and friendship. They have taught me that hard work is most effective when you have a foundation of people that you can lean on for support, motivation, and love. So the hard work that is quoted today is dependent on humility, kindness, and prioritizing relationships. Lastly, is it beneficial to all concerned? Is the hard work, the perseverance, the diligence, is it beneficial? I have abided by this quote for many years. And I can say that through hard work, I am top 1% of my class. I am president of the National Honor Society. And I am involved in numerous pre-dental programs. This hard work has gotten me to this point in my life. And I have earned these experiences that have been intellectually inspiring and personally fulfilling. Through this mindset that I have built, I have grown a self-confidence. And I know now that I will get to my dream career goals of being a dentist in a surgical specialty. And I will be able to come back to my community and establish a legacy of giving back, a legacy of teaching generations to come after me. So I know that this hard work that I am putting in today in every part of my life will be beneficial to not only myself, but to my family, to my community, and even to generations to come. So it does not matter where you start. It matters how much you are willing to work to achieve your goals and become who you strive to be. Is it valid? Is it significant? Through the evidence granted by the rotary four-way test today, I believe that it is. It is a valuable inspiration and an influence to what I say and the decisions that I make. So I will continue to apply it in my life. And I encourage you to take this message today, reflect upon it, and see how your hard work is worth it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Arabella.
Okay, so we talked about earlier what is Rotary and what we're all about. And with every organization, you have a vision. So I wanted to go over with everybody what Rotary's vision statement is and how it reflects on what we do. And the vision statement that Rotary has put together is together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. And that is a very powerful statement. And in order to do that, as we stand on the cusp of eliminating polio, we'll talk about that in a little bit about our polio initiative. But we find ourselves poised for the next challenge. The time is right to move forward toward realizing a new vision that brings more people together, increases our impact, and creates lasting change around the world. And so to achieve this vision, Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation, they have set up 4 priorities that will direct our work over the next 5 years. And so these priorities are Rotary's strategic priorities and objectives. And the first one is to increase our impact. How do we increase the impact of the projects that we are doing and offering to the world? The next one is expand our reach. How do we expand our reach from not only our communities or inside our own communities, but throughout the world? And the next is enhance participant engagement. How do we get everybody more involved with this strategic or this vision that we have? And lastly increase our ability to adapt? How do we adapt to an ever-changing world? And as we all know, the world is constantly changing. So how do we adapt to, or how do we adapt to that change?
Thank you, Eddie. Andy, we're ready for Angel.
Let me bring her over. There she is. Welcome, Angel. Whenever you do start, the timer will begin. So whenever you're ready, we're ready.
Does anyone have a huge phobia or fear or something? Well, for me, it's the fear of cockroaches. But seriously, it's crazy. It's like if a cockroach is in my bathroom, I would not go within a 6 feet premises of it. My father usually gets mad at me and say, "You're so much bigger than this little bug, just kill it." But yet, every single time I try, I end up causing more of a ruckus that even the cockroach probably wishes it were dead. It's funny what fear does to us. We freeze up, we tense up. We are suddenly so attentive to our surroundings, but yet at the same time, everything is a blur, slurring with one another. Today, I would like to bring a fear that is more prominent in our daily lives than we think. The fear of failure. What holds us back from being the person we wish to be? Is it success or is it the fear of failure? Oftentimes, society approaches failure with a tainted mindset, worrying about what others might think, scared of disappointing, or doubting and questioning your abilities before even beginning. Today, I like to use the 4-way rotary test to bring a different perspective to what failure is, how we should view failure, and who we are today because of failure. 1, is it the truth? Ever since we were a kid, we've been taught that the truth always comes out. And as we grow older, the truth becomes more prominent through failure. I still remember my first test I failed in high school. I was a sophomore in my physics class, and I just sat there in disbelief, staring at my 68. Failure exposes the truth. Failure in exams exposes the truth in my areas of weaknesses. Failure in relationships exposes the truth in another person's character, the truth in what we want in life, what we wish and don't wish for. I believe that failure is the ultimate truth. It shines light on the darkest side of what we don't want people to see. And it allows us to see the do's and the don'ts, whether that be for a business, for a community, or for you as an individual. And I never said failure feels good, but as our former president, James Garfield, once said, "The truth will set you free, but first it will make you miserable." 2nd, is it fair to all concerned? Our society today has too many isms: classism, racism, sexism, you name it. In the world we live in today, there are certain privileges some will have over others, but one thing in common is that failure is inevitable. Failure knows no economic status, no ethnicities, no beliefs, no physical advantages, etc. And as I mentioned before, failure causes us to do crazy things or do nothing at all. But in the eyes of failure, we are all in the same playing court with the same rules. We may have different abilities, but it's about those who work, who practice, those who build off their failure that truly grow. And with the ball in your court, 3 seconds left at the last game, will you let the fear of failure stop you from shooting your shot? 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Every fall semester, we have what is called team tennis. It's where 2 schools play against each other, and every individual win contributes to a greater overall score towards that school. Last year, our team was very rough, to say the least. We would have individuals winning their game, but one man cannot support the entirety of a team. We would lose countless of matches over and over and over again. And so finally, we decided to build together. Extra practices, helping one another, playing together on weekends. Soon enough, it wasn't just the passion of wanting to win that drove me to practices every single day, but rather it was being able to see my teammates, to laugh with them on inside jokes, to cry with them when coach made us run, to talk about how our day was after. When we are faced with failure, we have 2 options. We can allow it to instill anger and blame and fear, or we can allow others into our lives, building goodwill and better friendships. 4, is it beneficial to all concerned? Failure exposes a realization for a person to build their character. The sharpest blades are rarely ever just picked off the ground. It is put through fire to be molded into its desired shape. It requires constant grinding and perseverance. And when a person strives forward and endures so much, they not only become stronger for themselves, but for their community too, passing on these strengths, these abilities, these knowledge to those around them. One's failure can help others going through the same. I recently went through a pretty hard breakup, and I know that sounds super cliche, but one of the most comforting things somebody has done for me during that time was whenever I was unable to put my feelings and my thoughts and my emotion into words, they did. They understood what I was going through, the confusion, the hurt, and they showed me how to make it across to the other side. Those who choose to see failure in a different light benefits all concerned by being an example and lending a helping hand to others. After my dad scolded me, "You're so much bigger than this little bug," I've learned that using multiple tissues and slippers tend to do the trick. I realized it's a mindset. I had allowed this fear to be greater than me, when in reality, it was just a little creature. In the same sense, failure is just a little setback to the greatness we have yet to achieve. The world tells us to avoid failure, but as we uphold this 4-way test, failure shines light on the truth. It demonstrates equality, it builds deeper bonds, and it helps us confide and seek advice from those around us. And as leaders, as Rotarians, we should see failure in a different lens, not the lens of fear, but the lens of courage and strength. We should embrace our failure. More than anything, I encourage every single person to dare, to dream, and to not be afraid to fail in your aspirations. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel.
Okay, so we will continue on with our Rotary knowledge of what Rotary Club is all about. We talked about our vision statement. And so now we're going to talk about the areas that we focus on as Rotarians. We call them our areas of focus. And like-minded people come together to tackle all sorts of challenges. And as Rotarians, we believe that we have the shared responsibility to address the world's most persistent issues. And so together we work in the areas of providing clean water, sanitation, and hygiene. We also work on supporting education. We work on fighting disease. We work on saving mothers and children. We work on growing local economies, and we grow on promoting peace. And just recently, we've added a 7th area of focus, and it's supporting our environment, which is going to be very beneficial to what we're working on as Rotarians. So these areas of focus help set Rotary's global priorities so that we can harness and collect strength to improve the health and livelihood of communities worldwide. These are known as our, well, traditionally or previously they were known as our 6 areas of focus, but so now we have 7 areas of focus that we work on.
All right, thank you, Eddie. So Andy, give the judges about another 30 seconds, and I think we'll be ready for Natali.
Will do. Okay, I'm gonna bring Natali over. Let me go join them in the, okay, there she is. It just took a little while. Welcome, Natali. We are ready when you are. As soon as you begin, the timer will begin.
And Natalie, there you go. Get off mute. There you go.
Okay. Throughout high school, many students enter the workforce. Whether it be voluntary or forced, it is a reality many students are faced with. Some people may argue that while working in high school can have a negative impact on students, both on mental health and scholastic performance. However, as a junior Interact Rotarian who has gone through the ups and downs of working while in high school, I can say that much like Rotary, joining the workforce helped me develop into the person I am today. The four-way test is the guiding principle of the Rotary Interact Club. It consists of 4 guidelines, and each one has a specific meaning and helps Rotarians make sure they are going down the right path. For example, within the working student subject, if we were to analyze it using the 4-way test, the first principle would be, is it the truth? Is it the truth that working in high school has an impact on mental health and scholastic performance? I would argue that it can have a negative impact, but with hard work and determination, this can be countered. Based on my personal experience, I know that after clocking out at 1 in the morning and doing homework until 4 in the morning, that my mental health and academics were impacted in a very large way. Many times, I would show up to school half asleep and not ready to learn. This could have been catastrophic for my number 13 rank. Thankfully, after speaking to my first period teacher, he understood that I was under an immense amount of pressure and would allow me to stay after school for tutoring for any information I had missed. I learned that if I tried hard enough and communicated in a truthful manner, there was always a way to figure out any problem. One thing I have learned throughout my time in Rotary is that I know as long as I work to persevere, I will succeed. The next principle to ask is it fair to all concerned? When applied to my question, I would say that working in high school is fair to all concerned. Although there is an increased pressure and stress that is added to those who are forced to work in high school, many times working on time management skills can help to relieve that pressure. The same opportunities of employment while being full-time students are available to those who work hard. Like many students in the United States, financial need drove me to seek employment while in my junior year of high school. Personally, I believe my experience of working while also being an honor roll student in the top 2% of my class, while also being the varsity golf captain, was hard but not unfair. It is manageable if you truly give it your best. I remember one specific week that I was scheduled to work 42 hours while also having golf practice every day and still needing to attend school full-time. The only reason I was able to get through all of this was by managing my time. Coffee was my best friend. In Rotary Interact, we do many community service projects that help us learn not only how to manage time, but how to spend it doing something that truly matters and benefits the community. While all people enter the workforce at different ages, we all need to start somewhere. The third principle in the 4-way test is, will it build goodwill and friendships? I would argue that it does, due to the long-lasting relationships and connections you can make during your time in a workplace. In my tenure working at Chick-fil-A, I made many connections and friendships, ranging from managers to directors to line cooks in the back. Through each connection I made, I learned how to better interact and socialize with work colleagues in a professional setting. During our volunteering opportunities in Rotary, we work together and learn from each other, much like in a work setting. Our junior Rotary Interact Club has grown quite close over the last year, even while faced with the disadvantages that stem from the COVID-19 pandemic. We have spent Saturdays at the zoo and have volunteered for 8-hour events. Our group dynamic is much like one of coworkers. We work quickly and efficiently in order to achieve our group goals and create long-lasting memories while doing so. The fourth principle in the 4-way test is, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Although entering the workforce while still in high school does bring an immense amount of stress and pressure, it does not compare to the good you will get because of it. The life skills you will learn while taking part in this milestone will outweigh whatever stress it adds to your life. For example, learning to manage time is something that comes hand in hand with working while in high school. Another skill high school students gain while working is the ability to socialize in a professional setting. We learn how to speak to our bosses and our coworkers. The difference in vocabulary and sentence structure between speaking with a friend or a boss is completely different. In Rotary, we're involved in many community-wide events where we interact with many prominent members of the community. This interaction helps young students like myself learn not only how to speak to, but how to present myself around these influential individuals. Another very important life skill gained is how to manage money. Getting your first paycheck as a high school student is eye-opening. It is very memorable for most students, myself included. From that moment forward, there is a voice in your head that reminds you of the reason why you put all this stress on yourself. The quote, "Money makes the world go round," is what came to mind the first time I held my paycheck. The benefits of entering the workforce while in high school outweigh any drawbacks students may face. On a final note, the claim that working during high school benefits students is highly reflected through the principles of the four-way test. Working while in high school can bring many benefits to the mental growth of students and helps develop us while we are at this impressionable age. Being a part of and interacting with the Rotary Club and the community also helps us develop and refine our life skills. The four-way test is a roadmap to life for Rotarians, and is something we use to guide us in our day-to-day activities. Much like working while in high school, active involvement in the community can greatly benefit an individual and help them create long-lasting and meaningful relationships. Although our interactions were limited due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the memories and skills I have learned from my short time in the Rotary Interact Club will stay with me forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much. And we're back. And so I want to give you some more information about Rotary and who we are. And Rotary, kind of the structure of Rotary around the world. Rotary is comprised of not only the local clubs, but we have clubs all over around the world, and we're divided into districts. There is 535 districts around the world. And we're all led by an Rotary International president. The Rotary International president for this year is Holger Knack. He is from Germany, and he oversees all of the districts and the Rotarians in the world. And each district has a district governor. I serve as district governor for our district, District 5930. Also, the international president each year sets up his theme for the year. Holger Knack came up with a theme, Rotary Opens Opportunities. And that's a great theme because Rotary does open opportunities around the world. And as a district, we also set a theme for our district. The district theme is Lend a Helping Hand. And so I think these two kind of work together. Rotary opens opportunities for us to lend a helping hand. And so those are the themes that we work off of here.
All right, thank you, Eddie. Andy, let's give our judges another 30 seconds, and Clarissa will be next.
Sure thing, Tim. Hello, Clarissa, welcome. And we're ready when you are. As soon as you begin, the timer will begin.
Why is it that we choose to live by numbers or choose to be ranked in society? Better yet, did we even have a choice to choose to live by numbers? Class ranks were created to divide a school into successful to least successful students. Think about it. Am I right? Why should the school that we rely on for academic learning label us just like that? Why should we be ranked for our brain smarts? Why should we be segregated from the top 20 students and be treated differently? We work just as hard as they do. Education shouldn't be a contest. The four-way test code has a nature that can only back up my point. Is it true that a student's class rank will define how successful they will become? I've spent 17 years with pretty much the same classmates. And I've spent 17 years watching them hand out and pass around answers to worksheets and tests. To answer the questions you may be thinking, no. I was never one to copy answers. They always passed it over me. I was a student who did my own work. I found it faster and much easier for me to do well in my classes. I'm an A-B honor roll student. The ones who cheat are mostly A honor roll, since we've been hit with this pandemic. I work hard and often struggle just to hold my grades up in school. Class ranks are far from accurate. What they probably show is who is able to swipe the answers from the smart kid's desk. What it shows is who the school thinks will be successful and who won't. Why give us motivational speeches of success if your labels tell us otherwise? I don't believe class ranks are fair to all concerned. At the top of my head, I can think of a few students who are just brilliant in their classes. So brilliant that they think they don't have to do any of the day's work. Yet, when compared to students like me, who do the work, struggle daily, and visit after-school tutorials, they are still making better grades and ranks than we are. Since students in top class have options of any colleges they want, they believe they have a guaranteed future. For example, students with lower GPAs tend to be overlooked for scholarship opportunities. It is quite common for honor roll students to be top choice for scholarships. Well, what about the rest of us? The ones who are struggling with our ranks and our grades. GPAs don't measure the amount of hard work we put in. Just those took the shortcut. Class ranks have a negative impact on goodwill and better friendships. It collides with the idea. How is it that lazy students are ranking higher in their classes? They're befriending the smart students. I've seen it. You've probably seen it. Maybe the students ranked in top class believe they have it all, that maybe their future is bright and secure. And maybe they're right. But what will happen to their relationships with friends, with family, with classmates, with coworkers? Who can disagree with the idea that students in top class will struggle more with toxic people? How will they be able to find out who their real friends are? They'll experience people who will use them for the brain smarts and reclaim on their work. Ranks are not good for smart students either. Class ranks are not beneficial to schools or students. Numbers in general are not beneficial to anyone. Numbers are labels. They're practically targets or price tags for colleges to waltz around and window shop with. There are negative impacts on students like me who are trying to do their work, who are frustrated with the number label they were given and with the students who are ranked higher than them. Top-ranked students will have to face toxic people, and they will struggle with the idea of trust in relationships. With ranks, or should I say labels, we will always be fighting for who's the best. In reality, are we all not anything but the same? Isn't that what we're supposed to be taught? Because in reality, we're all stressed. The 408 test has helped me efficiently demonstrate the idea of school class ranks. Our intelligence shouldn't be something that is tested or compared. We do not live in the Hunger Games trilogy. I don't have a very good aim anyways. We're students. We are the future. We are all working for the same goal. So what's the point of telling us who will get there first? School isn't a competition, and it never will be. Students are not labels. And for that matter, we're not cows with tags in our ears. GPAs don't measure us. Ranks are not good for students or anyone. We are not defined, and I mean all of us. We are not defined by numbers.
Thank you very much, Clarissa. Everybody, we're going to take a 12-minute break right now. So by my watch, that means we ought to resume at 3 minutes after 10. See you then. We will resume with student speaker number 6. That would be Emily.
Thank you, Tim.
Good morning, Emily. We're ready. Whenever you are ready, we'll start the clock when you start speaking.
The year was 2018, June. It was the last day of a week-long summer camp known as the Texas Brigades. I was sleep deprived and sunburned, but I was super excited to go home to share all of the wonderful knowledge I had learned that week. At the Brigades, cadets are involved in many learning activities, like fieldwork, trivia nights, and lots of fun games outside. This camp teaches the importance of natural resources and got me heavily involved in conservation. Today, I am here to put the conservation of natural resources to the Rotary 4-way test. This test is composed of 4 simple questions. Is it the truth? Is it fair? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And is it beneficial for all concerned? The first question, is it the truth? Almost every day, somebody somewhere has some misguided excuse as to why conservation efforts aren't real, or how they might be involved in some sort of propaganda. But I assure you that conservation is the biggest, that the truth is the biggest is the biggest weapon and shield in the conservation movement. It has extreme significance in conservation all over the world. Scientists and even ordinary conservationists like myself have to constantly fact-check claims being made and data reported. According to the TCAP, the Texas Conservation Act Plan, there's a factual map of Texas online that has the locations of several parks, preservations, and research sites that the public can go and visit in order to learn more about wildlife. At the Brigades, we were taught about a man named Aldo Leopold. He was also known as the father of conservation. In one lesson, we were taught about how nobody really believed in him or his ideas until they read the truth about depleting game populations in one of his very first textbooks. People will always have opposing opinions on this subject, but the hard truth remains that it has extreme significance in today's society, and if we don't do anything about it now, there will be nothing left to save in the future. Is it fair? Imagine it's the early 1900s and you're taking a stroll along the docks. From one end of the harbor to the other, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of sawfish hanging off the dock winches. Known for their chainsaw-shaped snouts, sawfish were highly valued and prized in many countries across the world. Millions of sawfish were harvested within the first couple of years after they were discovered. According to an article searching for the world's last remaining sawfish, these prehistoric creatures are on the critically endangered list and extremely hard to find in nature. Our human presence still has lasting effects on them even today. In the early 1900s, there weren't many laws or regulations put in place for many game species, sawfish included. But today, Texas Parks and Wildlife and other organizations have put in place these rules to make it fair for the animals being hunted. It also regulates the playing field between hunters and fishermen as well, by prohibiting certain equipment and regulating season limits as well. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Becoming a conservationist doesn't happen overnight. There are several steps that need to be taken in the right direction, and it can bring people together in amazing light along the way. For example, a couple years ago, one night on my local news channel, I saw how 2 strangers had band together in order to protect a nest of sea turtle eggs that were being terrorized by seagulls and small children. These strangers waited together, watching over the nest until a wildlife agent could come and assist them. Friendship is an amazing thing to have. and I have been blessed enough to become close friends with several people I met from attending the brigades. Not long after I got back from camp, my friends and I decided to host a beach cleanup day. We made flyers and posters. We were so excited, and everybody from the public was invited. I met a lot of new people that day, and it was such an amazing thing to see that so many other people cared about conservation just as much as I did. Lastly, is it beneficial to all concerned? The sole purpose of conservation is to ensure that societies are able to thrive in the future, humans and animals alike. Conservation is nothing but beneficial. It's beneficial for us now, it's beneficial for generations to come, and it's beneficial for both the plants and animals that we rely on to survive. Anything can be considered conservation, whether you're simply picking up trash while going for a walk or turning off the lights when you leave a room. No matter how big the contribution, it's such an amazing feeling in here, knowing that you were able to help somebody else or the environment. Nature is not a place, it's a home. These words spoken by Gary Snyder could not have any more significance. The truth is, we must take care of our home, fairly and equitably. By participating in conservation efforts, it can bring out the goodwill in ourselves and in others. By participating in conservation efforts, we can also benefit the environment and human life in tremendous ways. I know I will continue working hard and doing my part for the world. My only hope is that you all will join me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emily.
Okay, everybody, we're back. More Rotary knowledge here. And so we're talking about our youth, and that's what we're talking about here at the four-way test. As we all know, youth are our future, so we need to make sure we bring them up and show them and expose them to the leadership skills that they need. And so with that, Rotary has a clubs at the high school level. We have the Interact Club, which a lot of these students are involved with, and this exposes them to the values that Rotary has at the high school level. And we don't stop there. After they graduate from high school, we want to continue with them. So we extend this out into the college ranks. We have a Rotaract Club at the college levels, and we also have Rotaract in the community level. So if some of the students are not going to college, but they still want to be involved with community service, they can do a community-based Rotaract Club out in their community. We also have programs for youth. We have youth exchange programs where we can have send youth from our area to another country that participates in youth exchange, and that country can send their student to us in our area. Unfortunately, this year, the past couple of years, really, we have not been able to do a youth exchange because of the COVID pandemic, but we're looking forward to reigniting that program again. We also have a number of scholarships that are available for the students through Rotary. We have a global international scholarship where we can send a student for a postgraduate type education to get their master's degree in another country. It's a $35,000 scholarship from Rotary International. And if you're interested in that type of scholarship, you can apply for that on our district website, rotary5930.org. And every year we award one, and sometimes two of those scholarships, depending on the funding. So with that, we'll turn it back.
We'll be moving speaker number 7 over. Okay.
Good morning, Jerilyn. We'll start the clock whenever you are ready. No rush.
Okay, sir. Good morning, fellow competitors and respected judges. My name is Jerilyn, and today I'd like to talk to you about depression. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Wrong crowd. And maybe you're right. The topic of depression is quite a taboo topic in almost every culture, but it's still an important one. So if you can bear with me for the next couple minutes, I'd like to give you some insight on what our lives are like. In an article written and released by the World Health Organization, in 2020, over 264 million people from all ages suffer from depression. It's quite a common illness. Now, I can stand here and I can talk to you about how more women are affected by depression than men, or how it's a leading cause of disability worldwide, and just throw a bunch of statistics and articles at you and hope that something sticks, and that of anything I say, you can learn at least one thing from it. Or I can tell you about my own experiences and my own personal journey with my mental health. After all, we as human beings learn from experiences and the stories that come from them. You know, we know fire is hot and can burn us because one day someone decided to test it out and realized how big of a mistake that was, and then passed the news on. And that's exactly what I want to do here today, pass the news on. Okay, so the first part of the 4-way test is it the truth? And this is clearly seen by really anyone who struggles from depression. I know I personally saw how my depression affected my self-esteem. From body dysmorphia to wondering if I was ever good enough, I found myself constantly doubting both myself and who I am as a person. But something I learned was to take a step back and ask myself if this was true. If the thoughts I was having, the things I was thinking, if they were true. And most of the time, the answer was no. By figuring out whether or not something is the truth, it allows us to move on from it or move forward from it. The next step in the 4-way test is it fair to all concerned? Now, as someone who suffers from depression, I constantly experience a lack of motivation. You know, that overwhelming feeling of not wanting to get out of bed, not wanting to do any work, just stay in my room under my covers and do nothing. And I'm pretty sure anyone who deals with a lack of motivation at times can relate to that. But unfortunately, this has had negative consequences on many of my relationships, that being with my friends, family, and even my teachers. And so once again, I had to ask myself if this was fair for them. And the answer was no, absolutely not. You know, it's not fair when I leave my friends' texts undelivered, or when I ghost them and disappear for weeks on end without any notice, or when I lash out at my family when I'm having a depressive episode, or even when I ask my teachers to grade the tons of late work I just submitted because I was depressed. But by asking ourselves whether or not something is fair, we as human beings are able to empathize and sympathize with the people around us. So the next step on the ladder of the 4-way test is, will it build goodwill and better friendships? I personally rely on the people who are close to me. I found myself learning how to compromise for the betterment of my friendships, which is not something I'm used to. For anyone who knows me, I'm a pretty stubborn person and I'm pretty set in my ways. I mean, I'm the youngest of 3, and growing up, being stubborn was the only way I could get my dad to buy me McDonald's when he'd pick me up from school. But by compromising and learning how to compromise, I was able to save a lot of the relationships I probably would have lost. By asking ourselves whether or not something can build goodwill or better friendships, we're able to find new ways of improving both ourselves and the relationships that we hold dear. Now, the last step in the 4-way test is, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And this one really hits home with me the most. I mean, out of all the topics I could have spoken about today, I chose depression, which is something pretty personal and pretty close to my heart. And so when I ask myself if what I'm doing here today is beneficial in any sort of way, the answer is yes. And what I mean by this is, I want this to be beneficial to others, in that I want to use what I've learned with my own experiences to help others who may be dealing with this or something similar to it. The sad truth of the matter is, we all know someone who struggles from depression or any sort of mental illness. Stephen Fry, the renowned actor, author, and overall artist, once said, "If you know someone who's depressed, please resolve never to ask them why. Depression isn't just a straightforward response to a bad situation. Depression just is, like the weather." If I can stand here and I can give you some insight on what our lives are like, then maybe the world can be a little bit kinder and sympathetic. But if there's one thing I want you to take away from everything I just said, is that depression is a struggle. And like any struggle, you can overcome it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jerilyn.
Okay, we're back, folks. So one of the biggest initiatives that Rotary has undertaken in the recent years is eradicating polio from the face of the earth. Today's younger generation may not know or be familiar with polio and what it's all about, but some of us older individuals may remember that. I can remember polio back when I was my younger ages. I was just rampaging around the world, and currently, well, at the end of the 1980s, Rotary decided that they were going to try to fix this problem. There were at the end of the 1980s, there were over 350,000 children who were being paralyzed by polio every year around the world. And because of Rotary's efforts of trying to immunize children around the world, today polio cases have decreased by 99.9%. So, I mean, we are so close to eradicating polio from the face of the earth. There are fewer polio cases today than ever before, but we can't stop until we reach zero. We still have work to do. We are this close to a polio-free world, but we need your help. We need to immunize 400 million children against polio every year. We have to improve the ability of surveillance and monitoring systems to diagnose these new cases and detect the wild polio virus. We've got to hire 150,000 health workers to go door to door to find every child in the world so that we can immunize them from this deadly disease. We're down to 2 countries left in the world that still have cases of polio, and that's Afghanistan and Pakistan. And for obvious reasons, Rotary can't get into these communities to immunize these children. So we're still working. But if polio is not eradicated, hundreds of thousands of children could be paralyzed. The global health costs could rise dramatically, and many children's quality of life will be drastically diminished. So we need your help. We need everyone's help to continue to work, and we need the funding. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation have joined the Rotary forces and committed to match every dollar that we contribute to polio with $2 from them. So it's a 2-to-1 match. So we need to continue with that fight and to continue to donate to the polio cause so that we can eradicate polio and keep our promise to the children of the world so that they don't have to suffer from this deadly disease.
Thank you for that very important message and information, Eddie. We're ready for Jaime.
Okay, moving her over now.
Good morning, Jaime. We're ready whenever you are. No rush. I'll start the clock when you start speaking.
Within my 4 years of high school, I have been offered drugs at least twice. In preparation for those moments of pressure, I had set in stone my response, but I didn't know if I could do it. However, the strength to say the right answer stemmed from a good support system. Thanks to a good support system, I was able to stand against peer pressure and say no both times. But I know without the proper guidance and disciplinary upbringing I had, my story would have been different. My parents have been very involved in my life, even though sometimes I wish they wouldn't be. But at the end of the day, their persistence and involvement has been beneficial to me in ways that I didn't even notice until now. Yes, they were strict, but they were also reassuring and caring. They always made sure to explain to me why they set certain rules without being too invasive. They would warn me about the dangers of certain choices or actions. And even then, in my early rebellious teen years, which are not over yet, I still made some unwise decisions that I regret. But I had fully understood and learned that my parents were right and always looking out for me, wanting only what was best for me. Without a reliable support system, I would have made even more bad decisions that would have affected the rest of my life negatively. The ages of 11 through 19 is a critical period for mental, social, and emotional well-being and development. Our developing brains, along with hormonal changes, make us more prone to depression and more likely to engage in risky and thrill-seeking behaviors than either younger children or adults. These and other factors underline the importance of meeting the mental, social, and emotional health needs of this age group. I believe a good support system is needed when going through adolescence, and I plan to put this issue through the 4-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build better goodwill and friendships? And is it beneficial to all concerned? Starting off with the first question of the 4-way test. Is it the truth? The American Psychological Association has shown that having a strong support system is linked to benefits including health and wellness. We develop better coping skills and a longer, healthier life. It can also help reduce depression, anxiety, and stress. A poor support system has been shown to alter brain function and increase the risk of alcohol use, drugs, cardiovascular disease, depression, and suicide. Isolation can worsen episodes of mental illness. In our most vulnerable moments, our own brain can turn against us. We become our own worst enemies, which can also bring down our self-esteem. People of our same age and inexperience can sometimes have a negative influence in regards to peer pressure, which leads to poor or even dangerous choices. Experts suggest that being part of such relationships can cause maladaptive behaviors and damaging health consequences. I know for a fact that I can't solve all the problems my fellow classmates is having, yet we still find ourselves asking for help from people our same age because we feel from a teenager to another teenager, we will understand each other the most in any other age group. But the truth is, we are all different. This brings us to the next question. Is it fair to all concerned? Nobody is going through the exact same problems at the exact same time as us. And not everybody feels safe or comfortable talking to an adult, especially if they come from a traumatic background or an abusive home where you would think their parents are the best support system they have, but they are actually the complete opposite. So it isn't completely fair to be expected to know how to deal with difficult life situations or act like adults if we all didn't grow up with a good support system or even one to begin with. Not all adolescents have the same resources or opportunities as others. According to NCCP, among adolescents with mental health needs, 70% do not receive needed care. There is also a lack of referral services and specialists trained in dealing with adolescent specialized needs. Of the 213 accredited pediatric residency training, 25 have fellowship programs in adolescent medicine, 7 of which include interdisciplinary training. Because we are growing up and learning, we don't always find the right person to support us the first time around or reach out for help. A troubled upbringing can make it harder for a teenager to see a clear difference between good and bad, and if people have the right intentions. Fear of being hurt or humiliated can stop us from asking for help. Now, will a good support system build goodwill and better friendships? Family, friends, counselors, and professional colleagues can take part in a support system. Social support helps reconnect you to the real world while giving you the opportunity to focus on other people and interactions. Sometimes this comes in the form of a heart-to-heart with a friend and seeking out useful advice. Other times we may find ourselves giving the advice. As we grow, some of us might feel relying on others is a flaw or limitation. Reaching out is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength and self-awareness, which brings us one step closer to self-improvement. Having a good support system gives us a sense of belonging, which is so important throughout our teenage lives. It starts with our family and our friend group as we grow from children to adolescents to adults. We need to thrive, not just survive. It's important to surround ourselves with positive and trustworthy people who will be there for our triumphs and struggles. They should be encouraging, care about our life goals, and have our best interests at mind. When we have that kind of support system, we'll be more likely to reach our goals, persevere through hardship, and reach our full potential. Support is a two-way street. You build good relationships with those who take part in your support system. Finally, is this beneficial to all concerned? Now, there are 2 types of support: emotional and informational support. Emotional support involves expressions of empathy, love, trust, and caring. People can also provide what is known as informational support, which involves providing guidance, advice, information, and mentoring. Such support can be important when making decisions or big changes in one's life. Not everyone has the parents I do, but they can find another family member, school counselor, or teacher. We become better students, people, and citizens when we receive the right support from the right people. Any of them can provide the emotional and informational support, and the positive effect will be reciprocal. So yes, it is beneficial to all concerned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janie.
Okay, we're back, everybody. So I want to speak a little bit about Rotary and the projects they do around the world. You know, we do projects not only in our community, but around the world. And these projects address a need that's not something that we think that the community needs or the world needs, but what it truly does need. But when we identify these projects and these needs, it takes funding, it takes money in order to make these projects happen. And so Rotary has established our Rotary Foundation. And this is a vehicle that we use to help provide funding for these projects, not only locally, but around the world. And we provide funding to our Rotary clubs in the form of grants. And the money comes from individuals like you and me and Rotarians around the world that contribute to this foundation. Rotary Foundation is a 501c3, it's a nonprofit, and contributions that you make to the foundation are tax deductible. And these dollars that are given to the foundation are given back to the Rotary clubs after 3 years so that they can use them to do the good around the world. And not only in the form of a district grant here locally, but also global grants if you want to do projects in other parts of the world. And there's a lot of funding that's the funding does come from the contributions that we as individuals make, as I say. And so our ultimate goal is for Rotarians and individuals like you and me to make the Rotary Foundation our charity of choice, because it truly does make a difference in the world. And so we encourage everybody to think about that, and when you're looking at the charities, and to make Rotary Foundation, as I said, your charity of choice.
Amen to that, Eddie. We're ready, Andy, for Galyze, number 9.
All right, let me bring her over. Okay.
Good morning, Galyze.
Good morning.
We're ready to start whenever you are. No rush. I will start the clock whenever you start speaking.
Okay, great. Growth. Growth is best defined as the action of undergoing natural development by increasing in size. It's the progress to maturity. As members of society, we all have the opportunity to undergo this process in different aspects of our lives, whether it be emotionally, spiritually, or physically. But in order for this process to be effective, we must be willing to give up parts of our lives that hinder us from seeing progress. John Maxwell puts it best: if we're growing, we're always going to be out of our comfort zone. However, it's easier said than done, especially when your comfort zone includes the friends you've shared countless memories with, a small town you've called home your entire life, and your beloved parents and siblings who you thought you'd never have to miss. So, is it really worth leaving your comfort zone in order to undergo this process of growth and maturity? Is it the truth? Will leaving my small town, friends, and family for higher education actually reap positive benefits for me? As a child, all I ever thought about was one day graduating high school and attending a prestigious university to pursue a degree that would allow me to make a difference in this world. I wanted to be a world changer, someone whose life would serve as an example to others that No matter how high the odds stacked against them were, there would always be a window of hope open to them. I thought, how could I be a world changer if I were to attend a university 30 minutes away from where I grew up? I have to dream bigger. But is it the truth? Can I still pursue this lifelong dream of mine if I were to stay close to home? I know that leaving my hometown and attending university outside of it would be amazing and would reap great benefits. But I also know that attending any university, even one 30 minutes away from home, would still keep me on track to becoming a world changer. And that is the truth. Is it fair to all concerned? Will chasing a childhood dream of mine be fair to my family, friends, and I? My family and friends have been such a huge part of my development, and it is difficult to figure out whether leaving them behind is a risk worth taking. However, I know that those who truly care about me would not try to get in the way of me and my goals, even if that means being hundreds of miles away from them. I know that whatever decision I make, it would be fair to my loved ones because I know I have their support. But would I be fine? Anyone who knows me knows I am a homebody, somebody who feels most comfortable with people and places they are comfortable in. However, leaving my comfort zone would challenge me and allow me to grow and mature. And I think that is very fair to me. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Moving to a new town and new school would expose me to a world of new opportunities, people, and experiences. As an introvert, making new friends and building new relationships has always been a challenge for me. I tend to stick to myself and my bubble of a life because it is where I felt most successful. However, this exposure to a whole different world would challenge me to leave this mindset behind. Letting go of this way of thinking would build goodwill and a refreshed mindset for me. In terms of relationships, I would have the opportunity to create new ones and to strengthen the ones I have now because of the challenge long distance would bring. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Will I and those concerned be positively benefited if I were to step into this new chapter of my life the way I had always dreamt of? Like I've stated before, my family has been a rock of support my whole life and would benefit from whatever decision I decide to make. One very important thing I've learned through this four-way test is that my decisions can have a great impact on the lives around me. If I were to decide to leave my hometown for higher education, it would bring a challenge to my friends and family just as much as it would bring to my life. I also know that the challenge would reap great benefits for all parties involved and wouldn't affect anyone negatively. Through the four-way test, I've been able to reach a conclusion to a question I've asked myself since the beginning of senior year. Growing up can be scary to think about, especially when it's an experience that brings challenges spiritually, emotionally, and physically. However, it is not a bad thing. In fact, it's good. It's good to be challenged, to have unanswered questions, and to be scared to leave your comfort zone. No matter what university I decide to attend, I know it will keep me on track to pursuing my goals. But most importantly, I know it will keep me on track to the process of maturity and growth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Galyze.
Okay, we're back. And so I've been discussing a lot of the aspects of Rotary and the things that make up Rotary, the funding, the foundation, and all the projects we do. But none of this is going to be possible without its members, without its Rotary members. And so I want to kind of address membership. Membership is our members are where all the action starts. They're the boots on the ground. We have our international presidents and our district governors and our other leaders, but none of this really happens until, but it all, it starts at the club level with the members. They're the ones that get the work done around the world that need to be done with our polio projects and our grants. all that stuff. It's all starts with the members. And so we have over 35,000 clubs around the world and 1.2 million Rotarians. And so we're always looking for new members, but we want to choose our members wisely. We want to make sure that Rotary is a good fit for them, because it's not for everyone, but it is a vehicle for those individuals that want to give back to their community and provide service, because the communities have been good to all of us. And so it's up to us as individuals to do our part for society, to give back. And Rotary is a great opportunity and great vehicle to do that, to give back to your community and provide that service that our communities so desperately need.
Thank you, Eddie. Whenever you're ready, Andy, speaker number 10, Lorena.
Okay, let me bring her over.
Good morning, Lorena. Whenever you are ready, I'll start the clock. No rush.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dowling. Being a new kid at school can be one of the scariest things. I remember on my first day of school, my now best friend Raquel challenged me to a hula hoop off. And of course I complied. I'm never one to shy away from a hula hoop showdown. And since then, I got adjusted and school became a safe place for me to grow. And it's safe to say that I no longer fear school itself, but instead fear for school. As I've grown, so has my understanding of the inequalities we experience in our school systems. And it's my job as a passionate student and descendant of teachers to remind that in order to benefit from our education, we must invest in it. So let's educate ourselves by putting it to the four-way test and asking, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Is it the truth? In order to benefit from our education, must we invest in it? According to Texas AFT in 2011, Texas lawmakers faced a massive gap in state budget, which they made up by cutting $5 billion in state aid to public schools, the biggest cut to education since World War II. When Texas lawmakers cut funding to public education, students from low-income households and those in need of additional support lost the most. Their losses averaged to around $500 less per student. And because of this dough drought, teachers have been put in extremely trying situations. By increasing our investment in education in the public school system, we can and will improve the atmosphere by giving teachers more resources to work with and helping students access what they require to be put on the path towards success. My mother is a special education teacher and says that whenever her district provides her department with greater resources or when she's awarded with a grant, she gets the opportunity to work with her kids in new ways, either through new software, new learning tactics, or new devices, and it makes her teaching methods more efficient. She knows the benefit of helping these children and the investment in their education and the education of all children. Is it fair to all concerned? Is investing in our education system fair to all concerned? The freedom of education and right to education for all people is fair and just for all involved. Oftentimes, the reason educational inequality goes unnoticed is because of lack of awareness of the shortcomings both students and teachers face. After a federal investigation, media reports showed Texas in violation of IDEA, or the Individual with Disabilities Education Act, when it arbitrarily capped the number of students it served at 8.5%. No one was aware of this extreme disservice at the expense of children's growth until it was found out. When raising opportunities for those at an innate disadvantage isn't the priority of our government, how in good conscience can we feel it's being done without hands-on involvement? By investing even our attention to the education system, we can spread awareness and ways to make the playing field more even. To get involved, I suggest starting to advocate for further funding from the state for all educational departments, and by participating in fundraisers and back-to-school drives for local school districts to help every student have every chance they can to benefit from their education in a fair way. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? By taking time to really invest in our education in whatever way we can, there are indefinite opportunities to build goodwill and better friendships. Coming from a long line of teachers, I've always been adamant about service work relating to the school system. Since I go to a year-round school, I would take the weeks off in between grading periods to spend days at my mom's school to help as a student aide. And I've experienced many friendships with like-minded individuals who also take time to volunteer with schools. And I've even been lucky enough to become friends with a few of the kids. And I always feel really thankful whenever they share their snacks with me at snack time. You see, I'm lucky enough to have a further connection with the youth in my community. And I know that there is so much room for development between important individuals in our community as active members that devote their time to helping the youth. Recently, I've had the joy of becoming involved with the Buck Days Leadership Program, and I've experienced the guidance of many mentors. And eventually, I met this amazing woman named Gracie. She's an alma from my high school. She's an alma mater from my high school, and told me that she was the only girl to graduate in the top 10 of her class. I wish I'd had her mentorship sooner, as she inspires me to follow in her footsteps. You see, there is real potential for those willing to invest in the education system to not only bring it goodwill, but to inspire better friendships. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I truly believe that if we work together to invest in our education system by means of further involvement, donations, and government funding, it will be beneficial to all concerned. School has always been my safe space, and the children who don't have healthy homes look to school as an escape. So imagine if you're able to provide that child with extra school supplies, extra mentorship, or even just a conversation that will make them feel heard, recognized, and validated. Imagine the difference it would make in that child's life. By investing in our education system, we stand to make an impression in the lives of so many individuals, and it will be an investment in a brighter future. By being the light that person follows, you will have nothing but a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorena.
Thank you, Mr. Dowling.
Okay, so we were back, and I really hope that the information that I'm sharing with everybody here this morning is beneficial and can help everybody understand who we are as Rotarians and why we do the things we do, and why it's so important for us as Rotarians to support our Rotary Foundation. Right now, I'd like to discuss something that's an event that's coming up at the next weekend, as a matter of fact, and it's a time for us as Rotarians to get together and share our accomplishments that we've done. And this has been a very challenging year for not only us as Rotarians, but everybody in the community because of the pandemic. You know, we weren't able to do the things we normally do and then in the traditional ways that we do. But anyway, we're going to have a district conference in Harlingen at the Harlingen Convention Center this next coming weekend. And it's our opportunity to get together to celebrate those things that we were able to do and the successes that we did. And it's going to be, we're going to start off Friday afternoon with a luncheon at the convention center, and then we're going to have a golf tournament. So if anybody's interested in playing in this golf tournament, it's a charity golf tournament. You can sign up for that and play in this golf tournament. We will have we'll start up again on Saturday morning with some very interesting sessions. And we will have a guest speaker from Houston that's going to come into Harlingen, Dr. Joseph Galati. He's going to be talking about eating healthy and fighting the obesity problem that we have here in our area. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of interesting speakers, and a time for everybody to get together safely. It'll be a hybrid meeting. We've never done a hybrid meeting. So we will have a small group in person at the convention center, and everybody else that cannot make it or chooses not to come because of the pandemic, they can join in virtually for this session. So I invite everybody to please sign up and come to and have some fun in Harlingen.
Good idea. Thank you, Eddie. And our last speaker will be Celeste, speaker number 11.
Bring her now, just a moment. There she is.
Good morning, Celeste.
Good morning.
Whenever you're ready, I'll start the clock. No rush.
Okay, I'll begin. Today, I would like to thank y'all for being here on this beautiful Saturday morning and taking the time of your day to judge these speeches. Today, I would like to pose to you a question. What can any person learn from the teachings of the life of Jesus Christ? Whether or not you believe in Jesus of Nazareth, whether you believe he's a historical figure or fictional character, one thing is certain. His wisdom can be used by anyone and everyone. Born circa 4 BC in Bethlehem, his mother, Mary, was a virgin who was betrothed to Joseph, a carpenter. His lineage can be traced all the way back to the house of David. According to the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus was born during the reign of Herod the Great, who upon hearing of Jesus' birth threatened and tried to kill Jesus by ordering all of the male children under the age of 2 to be killed. But Joseph was warned by an angel and took Mary and the child to Egypt until Herod's death. The family then traveled back and settled to the town of Nazareth in Galilee. Little is known about Jesus' childhood. However, it is believed that he began his ministry at the age of 30 when he was baptized by John the Baptist, who upon seeing him declared him the Son of God. Throughout his ministry, Jesus imparted his wisdom to disciples, Jews and Gentiles. Is it truth? According to John 14:6, Jesus states that he is the way, the truth, and the life. Moreover, even if we don't believe in the Bible, it is more than true that humans have a moral compass, an internalized right and wrong. These teachings fall along that moral compass. His teachings are more than fair to all concerned. The many parables and events in Jesus' life point to a common theme: love your neighbor as yourself. The term neighbor, as used here, not only refers to the people who live near us, but all of mankind, even our enemies. One of Jesus' famous parables, the Good Samaritan, clearly imparts this seemingly obvious idea to love your neighbor. The parable entails a Jew who was attacked by a bandit while traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho. Being stripped of his clothes and moneyless, the man was left on the brink of death beside the road. The parable goes on to say that both a Jewish priest and a Jewish temple assistant saw the man, but lended no aid. However, a Samaritan soothed his wounds with medicine and bandaged them, and then proceeded to care for the man the rest of the night. In ancient Israel, Samaritans were seen as ceremonially unclean, socially outcast, and religious heretics. Yet, a Samaritan was the one who helped the Jew. Jesus also displayed these actions by speaking to a Samaritan woman on his way to Galilee. Furthermore, in the book of Matthew, Jesus heals a leper, a person belonging to a group of people that were by far the most socially outcast. Leprosy causes gaping wounds and is usually accompanied by the loss of fingers, toes, ears, and sometimes even whole limbs. These lepers would have to wear bells in order to sound that they were near. Despite this, Jesus aided this man, a person who at the time no one would aid. Modern society can learn that through Jesus' barrier-breaking actions and unparalleled teachings that as humans, we should not exclude anyone or any group because of a social status, a supposed character flaw, religious, racial, ethnic, or citizenship differences. Jesus also calls humans to remember that we are all God's creation. Just as he loves all his people and is willing to forgive their sins, we must also be willing to forgive others who have done wrong by us. Anger and malice can consume us from within, whether between a parent and a child, spouses, friends, or nations. Expressions of anger divide us and drive us towards open hostility. More often than not, our angry feelings are based off of misinterpretations of what someone did or said. A grudge clouds our judgment and may lead us to acts of revenge that can never be undone. Through his new covenant teachings, Jesus promoted the idea of turning the other cheek. The need to forgive is not some ideal that we cannot hope to attain. Forgiveness is necessary to free us from the dark cloud of anger and resentment that can destroy our own lives. This forgiveness and release of anger would surely bound goodwill and better not only friendships, but relationships of all kind. Is it beneficial to all to take the wisdom and teachings of Jesus? The answer is an unwavering yes. Imagine how modern America, nay, the world would benefit from the teachings of Jesus of love, acceptance, and peace. By following these teachings of Jesus of Nazareth, America and the rest of the world can move towards peace and away from war and destruction. The teachings of wisdom that Jesus provides is morally true, fair to everyone and anyone, brings goodwill and better friendships, and is beneficial to all who take from it. The only question remaining is, will you take these teachings to heart? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Celeste. Folks, what we're going to do now is Andy is going to put the judges and me in a separate room, and then we're going to score. The judges will give me their scores, and we'll figure out how everybody did first, second, and third. And that probably will take maybe 20 or 30 minutes. So just hang around. And I think I mentioned at the orientation this morning, students, now we would love to know who you all are and love to know where you're from and what plans you have, what high schools you attend. So
let me bring them over, Tim.
Okay.
And then when you're ready, I'll move you with the judges into the room.
Very good. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Celeste.
You're welcome. Okay, welcome everybody. Go ahead, Tim.
Guys, y'all did great. Y'all of you are outstanding, just awesome. 11 strong speeches. What we're going to do now is the judges and I are going to go into a separate room. They're going to give me their scores, and that'll probably take 20 to 30 minutes to get all the judges' scores into the spreadsheet, and then we'll calculate who comes in first, second, and third, which will tell us who wins $1,500, $1,750. And we'll come back and tell you who that is. And that process will probably take, I'm guessing, maybe 20, 30 minutes, somewhere in there. So what we'd like you students to do, remember this is being broadcast on YouTube. Now tell us your full name, where you're from, your high school, all the stuff us nosy adults want to know about people your age. So well done by all of you, and good job. And I just noticed I had my little sticker still up there. Good job, everybody. Well done.
Let me know when you want me to move you over, Tim.
Yeah, I'm ready to go, Andy.
Okay. Ellison, good morning.
How you doing, Andy?
Doing well. Welcome,
Good.
welcome, and congrats to everybody. Everybody did a great job.
You need to move me into the judges' room also, to Andy.
I'm moving you now.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Well, congrats to everybody. Y'all did a great job. I am really impressed with the work that everybody has done. Do you all want to share any thoughts and anything you'd like to share with the public?
We show our oh, you can go.
Do we introduce ourselves right now, or do
Yes,
we,
yeah. You can go ahead and introduce yourselves, where you're from, what who your sponsor club is, and we'll go one by one. So you can go first, Emily, and then go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Emily Kalinec, and I attend Academy High School where I am a senior, and I will be attending Texas Tech in the fall. My sponsor club is the Kingsville Rotary Club.
Thank you. Who wants to go next? I guess we can go in
I'll go
order.
next.
Logan?
Okay.
Hi, I am Logan Kubala. I go to school at Victoria East High School in Victoria, Texas. I am a senior, so I will be finally getting out of high school soon. And I guess that's really it. I plan on going to Victoria College afterwards, at least for a little bit to get some basic stuff out of the way. But that's really the plan right now.
Thank you. And speaker number 2?
Hi, I'm Arabellah Lozano. I am from Laredo, Texas. I go to the Staggs Academy at TAMU, and I'm planning on staying at TAMU to finish my bachelor's since I already have over 80 college credits, and then continue hopefully onto dental school.
Angel?
Hi, my name is Angel Tung. I go to Calhoun High School. I'm a senior this year as well. I was debating between a lot of schools. I was debating between mainly UC Berkeley in California and UT Austin here in Texas. And at the end of the day, I think I just decided to go to UT Austin because just more reasonable and just a lot of consideration. And I think it was the best choice for me. But yeah.
Thank you. Natalie?
Hi, I'm Natali Barrera. I'm from Los Fresnos High School and I'm a senior here. My home Rotary Club is the Los Fresnos Rotary, and I will be attending UTSA in the fall. That's pretty much it.
Clarissa?
My name is Clarissa Hinojosa. I go to Aransas High School. I'm a junior, so I don't have college worked out yet, but I do want to become an artist or concept artist. And my Rotary Club is Aransas Rotary Club.
And we've already heard Emily. Jerilyn?
Hi, my name is Jerilyn Thomas. Most people call me Jerry. I'm from Brownsville, Texas. My sponsor club is Interact Club from Brownsville Early College High School, which is the high school I go to. I'm a junior, and I think I have over 50 hours of college credit. I want to be a lawyer when I grow up.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Jaime?
Yeah, my name is Jaime Estrada. I'm a senior at Lamar Academy in McAllen, Texas. And I'm planning to go to UTRGV this fall and hopefully majoring in art.
Jocelyn? Galyze? I'm sorry, I think I mispronounced her name.
It's okay. Hi, my name is Galyze Landaverde. I'm a senior at Harlingen High School. My sponsor club is Rotary Interact Club from Harlingen High School, of course. I plan on attending UT Austin to major in education and hopefully get a minor in business.
All right. Lorena?
Hello, my name is Lorena San Pedro. I attend Tuloso Midway High School, and I'm sponsored by the Tuloso Midway High School Rotary Interact Club. And I plan on attending UTSA with Natali come this fall to major in psychology. Super excited about it.
Awesome. Good luck. And Celeste?
Hi, my name is Celeste Torres. I'm a junior at AISS High School, and I'm sponsored by Interact from AISS. We're the only high school in AISS. And I plan on becoming a chemical engineer after high school. I'm getting my Associates of Science in this May from Coastal Bend College. And I plan on going to either Texas A&M College Station or Texas A&M Kingsville. I haven't really decided that.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll just wait a few more minutes for the judges to come back. I think they do need a couple of more minutes. So if anybody will want to share some experiences you've had along the way, the floor is open.
I didn't watch any of the speeches, but what were y'all's about? Like, what did y'all do y'all speeches over?
Mine was about having a good support system.
Mine was about how class ranks aren't fair.
Mine was about
Mine
how
was a-
rabbit farming. Hey, how rabbit farming can save humanity from hunger.
Mine was about depression.
Mine was about the fear of failure.
Mine was about investing in the education system.
Mine was about, well, I talked about a quote that my dad always told me.
Mine was about how anybody and everybody can use the teachings of Jesus Christ, no matter their religion or views on Jesus.
Mine was about the process of growth and maturity.
Mine was about working while in high school.
Mine was about conservation. Y'all sound really good. They all sound interesting.
All of these topics sound so cool.
I know. The one about rabbit farming, that's really interesting because I used to show rabbits, like when I did the fair and all that. So that's pretty cool.
So I do want to let everybody know that we did record this session and it is on our district YouTube page. Feel free to go view it after the contest or whenever you have a chance so that you can get an idea of how, or listen to all the other speeches. So I'm gonna go over to the judges room and see how they're doing and I'll be right back.
Logan, I don't mean to pry, but can you please tell me about rabbit farming? I have no clue what you mean when you say it's going to help humanity, and I'm very interested. Please.
Well, it actually started out as a joke. I didn't actually think I'd be able to make a speech out of it. But basically, since rabbits can live in any climate, they reproduce quickly and things like that, they can help with agricultural innovation across the planet.
That's really
I feel
cool.
like I'm kind of the odd one out when it comes to the topics of these speeches.
When I was first writing this speech, I had no idea what I was doing, like for the club one. And I was doing like each question a different subject. And then I got a rude awakening when I went to a contest. That it was all like
I don't know if it's weird, but I looked up videos. Like I think they have a few on YouTube because I had no clue what to do either. It was very helpful.
Yeah, my counselor suggested for me to watch some speeches, like winners and stuff. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I did that too.
I think it's funny because the prompt is so open to interpretation.
It really is. You could go any direction.
Yeah, I had a list like of all the subjects I could have talked about, but I went for the support system. But yeah, there's a lot you could talk about.
Yeah, I didn't know what to talk about, and I feel like I didn't really explain it well whenever we were talking about it right now. But that's because my dog was like really distracting me. But I talked about like hard work basically because a quote that my dad always says is about hard work.
So we're still waiting on a couple of more judges. They're completing the scoring, and they'll be, as soon as they're done, they'll join us in this session. So feel free to keep talking about your experiences and any other topics you may want to discuss. I do want to ask, are you all interested in joining Rotaract once you are in college? Do you have any plans to joining? Do you know the university you'll be attending has a Rotaract club?
I'm not sure of mine, but I could probably look into it.
Yeah, I was fixing to say the exact same thing. I don't know if Texas Tech has a Interact club that I could join, but I'll definitely look.
You know, the beauty of it is if they don't have one, then you could step up and start one. They're very easy to start.
That's true.
And we'd be happy. We would be more than happy to guide you through that process, but it's very, very easy to do. And if the university doesn't want to do it, you can step out and do a community-based Rotaract without going to the university. So there's always ways of doing it.
And I'm sure that whatever college you attend, there is a Rotary Club in that same city that would be willing to sponsor.
And we're even doing some cause-based clubs. You know, like for instance, we have one here in the Valley in Mission, Texas, that has to do with challenged type people. You know, mentally challenged, I think is what I forgot the exact name of it, but you can do different causes. You know. And have people with that have pieces fell out of my ear. But yeah, you can do the cause-based type clubs as well. So those are always an opportunity. And as you guys get up in your college days and you graduate and you want to go on and do a master's degree, Rotary does have a global grant scholarship available. It's a $35,000 scholarship that's available to go to school overseas in another country and get your master's degree. And if you're interested in applying for something like that, it's a 1-year course. You know, and we'll send you to a lot of students go to London, the England area. Some go to Australia, different countries. It is available. Our district traditionally will award 1, maybe 2 scholarships, depending on the funding that we have. And so, if you're interested, that application is on our district website. It's Rotary5930.org, and the application is there. We usually do those scholarships. We have the interviews in November. So keep that in mind as you get up and through your college years, and then you want to apply for a scholarship like that. It is available, and we highly encourage you to consider that. It's a wonderful opportunity. So I missed it. I was in the other room when y'all told where you're from. So let's start with number one. Well, number one, tell me what city you're from.
I am from Victoria.
You're Victoria. Number 2.
Hi, I am from Laredo.
Laredo. Texas. Okay. And number 3.
I'm from Calhoun, Port Lavaca.
Port Lavaca. Okay. And next, number 4.
I'm from Los Fresnos, Texas.
Oh, very good. Los Fresnos, number 5.
I'm from Aransas Pass.
Aransas Pass. Okay, number 6.
I'm from Fremont, Texas.
Fremont. Okay, number 7.
I'm from Brownsville, Texas.
Brownsville. Okay, number 8.
McAllen, Texas.
McAllen. Number 9.
Harlingen, Texas.
Harlingen. And number 10.
Corpus Christi, Texas.
Corpus Christi. There you go. Well, good. Just feel like we have a mixture from all around our district.
And we also have Celeste, number 11.
Number 11. I'm sorry. Who's number 11? Who's number 11?
I'm from Alice.
Alice. Oh, my favorite place, Alice. Yeah, we have got them from all around. That's great. For those who don't know, our Rotary district stretches all of South Texas from the valley up through Laredo, across the ranch land, all the way through Corpus Christi. We go north up to Victoria, and as far north as Edna, if you're on your way to Houston. So we've got a pretty good sized district that we encompass. We have 51 Rotary clubs in that district. And actually we have more Interact and Rotaract clubs than we do Rotary clubs. And so, you know, the youth are a big part of our organization. And so the Interact at the high schools and the Rotaract at the college level comprise a big part of who we are. And so, you know, I encourage you as you go on to college to look into the Rotaract clubs that are there.
So Eddie, some of the students didn't get to hear the topics that you discussed during the breaks. Do you want to share some of those with the students?
Sure. Let's see, what would, is everybody familiar with what Rotary is and what we represent? Rotary is let me find all my notes here so I don't miss something. Rotary is we're an international service organization. And our purpose is to bring together business and professional leaders around our community in order to provide humanitarian services and to advance the goodwill and peace, not only in our community, but around the world. And Rotary is a non-political and a non-religious organization. So, and we're open to everybody. So no matter what your political preferences, no matter what your religious preferences or ethnic backgrounds, we're open to everybody. And in Rotary, we are all individuals. You know, we don't label anybody. So we've got over 35,000 clubs around the world. 1.2 million Rotarians can make up those clubs. And so we've got a big base. But we're more than just a service organization. We're an international membership organization. We're made up of members that we come together with like mind and passion to serve our communities. And that's what it's all about. You know, our communities have been good to us, and it's time for us to give back to our communities. And so that's what Rotary is all about. We're business professionals and leaders in our communities that want to give back and make our communities a better place. We like to identify needs within our communities. So what does our community really need? Not what we think they need, but what do they really need? And then how can we as Rotary Club members address that need? And I was amazed when I was your age, you know, you'd always see Rotarians really making things happen. You know, if there's a need in the community, we'd always go to the Rotary Club and they'd get it done for us. You know, we needed to raise some money and the Rotary Clubs would raise that money. And so it's a great organization. It's all about leadership and giving back to our community. And we recognize that the youth are our future. And so that's why we are really big on supporting our youth through our Interact and Rotaract clubs and offering scholarships for you to be able to further your education. And because we recognize that you are our leaders of the future. And so we we want to provide that leadership for you. We also talked about what our areas of focus are. We have areas of focus, things that we focus on as Rotarians, not only here in the community, but worldwide. In the past years, we had 6 areas of focus, and just recently we added a 7th area of focus. And so now we have 7 areas that we focus on, and we focus on promoting peace, not only locally, but throughout the world. We fighting diseases. We talked about our polio drive and water and sanitation, mothers and maternal health and maternal and child health. We talked about supporting education, growing local economies, and the 7th area is protecting the environment. So those are our seven areas of focus. So I think we're all back now. Is that correct, Tim? You're muted, Tim.
Bear with me just a moment. All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well done by all of you students, as I said a minute ago. We had some adults who did some very good things too. And the first one I want to recognize is our district governor, Mr. Eddie Barnetsky, the gentleman who's been giving you the information about Rotary during our little breaks. Mr. Barnetsky is our district governor, and that means that basically Rotary takes over his life for a year for free as he tends to the needs of the very large 5930 Rotary district that goes all the way from Laredo to Victoria to Brownsville, a very big triangle. Eddie, thank you so much for very generously giving a year of your time to Rotary in a very difficult time during the pandemic. Andy Zamaripa also deserves tons of credit and thanks for making this competition possible by making the Zoom technology work. Without Andy, we don't have a competition. And judges I'd like to thank today. You've seen some of them earlier today, but you know who they are. They are Andy Hagan and Ellison Kreider, Betty Ramirez-Lara and her husband Adam Lara, and Rick Ott, all longtime Rotarians and all very experienced in this competition. You guys had a very tough job judging today, and I thank you for taking on the task. Students, regardless of who the top 3 speakers are today, I heard all of your speeches and I was very impressed by every one of them. I mean that very sincerely. I'm a lawyer now, but when I was your age, I most definitely could not have done what you did today, especially with big scholarship money on the line. That was a lot of pressure and you did great. So each of you are big time winners. Don't ever think otherwise. Thinking otherwise would not be true and it would not be fair to you. So thinking would definitely flunk the 4-way test. Mahatma Gandhi was one of the greatest men of the 20th century. In 2012, I went to visit my daughter Olivia, who had graduated from college a year earlier, who was doing postgraduate research in India. When I was visiting her, we visited the room where Mr. Gandhi was living in New Delhi, India, when he was assassinated 73 years ago on January 30th, 1948. His room had been left just as it was when he was killed. His entire possessions were remarkably few. A few simple clothes, his glasses, a few personal effects that altogether would not have filled up a quarter of a small suitcase. Yet this great soul with no meaningful physical possessions had a profound and beautiful impact on India and the world. This man of peace, nonviolent strategy of implementing just social change was the decisive tool for liberating his country, India, from colonialism. His strategy was also instrumental in America's own struggle for civil rights for many of our fellow citizens in the 60s and beyond. The 4-way test had not become well known until well after Mr. Gandhi's death, but he surely would approve of the 4-way test. He famously said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world. If you want truth, be truthful. If you crave fairness, be fair. If you yearn for peace, honor, and respect, be peaceful, honorable, and respectful with others." Students, the 4-way test will assist you as you strive to be the change you wish to see in the world. Thank you very much for blessing us with your thoughtful and inspiring remarks today. Godspeed, and I wish you many future blessings as you change the world for yourselves and those around you by applying the 4-way test in your lives. Seniors, and that's most of you, good luck to you with the exciting journeys you will start very shortly after graduation. The future looks bright with you taking the lead. Younger students, I hope you compete in the 4-way test competition next year. You all have done great, and hats off to you. Much more importantly, I hope that all of you students will treasure and apply the four-way test as you go forward in life. Now, let me tell you who the exceptional young people are who we honor today as the students who placed first, second, and third in our district four-way test competition. Third place, the winner of a $750 scholarship. This student is a senior from Harlingen High School, which is located in Area 8, Galyze, Landaverde. Congratulations, Galyze. Our second place student, the winner of a $1,000 scholarship, is also a senior. This student is from Calhoun High School, which is located in Area 1, Angel Tung. Congratulations, Angel. First place, the winner of a $1,500 scholarship, is also a senior. This student is from Tuloso Midway High School, which is located in Area 5, Lorena, San Pedro. Congratulations, Lorena. Congratulations to all of you. And now I'd kindly ask you to give your attention to District Governor Andy Barnetsky for some closing remarks.
Thank you so much, and congratulations to everybody, especially the top three winners. But for everybody else, we're all winners in this competition. You all won at your club and area competitions, and so we're all winners. So I want to thank everybody for participating with this, and I appreciate the words that Tim gave us about the four-way test. And I think that as you go forward into your careers, into your student life, always take that four-way test with you. And I display the four-way test in my office, and I always look at that when I have a decision to make. And if it doesn't pass that four-way test, well, I won't do it, because it's probably not going to be the right thing to do. And so I encourage you to take that four-way test with you wherever you go and apply it to every decision that you have to make. And if you do that, then you won't go wrong. You will definitely be on the right track to success in your careers. And so again, I want to thank everybody. We know the youth are our future, and that's why we put these things on, because we want to provide that leadership skills and the speaking skills and those type of things to all our youth. So again, thank you so much. Thank you for participating. Thank you for the parents out there that supported you along the way. And if there's anything that we can do as Rotarians or as citizens of our community, do not hesitate to reach out to us, because we're all in this together. And so let's all go out into the community and lend a helping hand to those in need. So thank you very much.
Well done, students.